Good morning. Welcome back to your weekly ag update from Bloomgren Seed in Boone, Iowa. What a great day and what a difference a week makes. Last time we shot a video, we were on the heels of some pretty cool weather and quite a bit of moisture. So real quick weather update. Heat accumulation is going really well right now. We're plus 22 on the year. I believe right around 604 total accumulated heat units in this field. We're still tracking about 1.2 inches ahead on moisture. It looks like we might go through a little bit of a dry spell here, but should have adequate soil moisture to survive. So we're going to shoot a two-part video today. First part in bean fields, give a quick update, and then second part in a cornfield and give a quick update there. So Central Boone County in a bean field. I was actually called about this specific bean field, and if you remember the video, we talked a little bit about the halo effect and some observations of some beans that were just being a little lethargic. So we're going to give a quick update on kind of how these have progressed. I am absolutely thrilled with what I'm seeing out in this field for development. So I've got 3 plants in my hand. We've done a few stand counts, and we're at right around 135 to 140,000. As you can see, out of the 3 plants that I pulled, they're kind of starting to drop the cotyledons. And I'll come in. Dane's going to kind of guide me here, right about here. So I'm gonna set these 2 aside. We're starting to see the cotyledons drop off. You can see they're gone off this one, and one's already fallen. We've got the unifoliate leaves, and we've got the first trifoliate. So as we stage these plants, as you guys are attempting to do your staging, remember that when we have just the cotyledons, we're at VC. And then when we have a full set of 3 leaves, we are at V1. Each subsequent set of 3 leaves is the next stage. So you can see right here, we've got V2 beginning the process of emerging, a little more advanced on this plant. As I observe these plants out here, I'm really happy with the consistency of them. And like I said, as they have rebounded from what was a little bit of lethargic growth, I'm really happy. So as we're looking around at these plants and as we're making our evaluation, I'm gonna drop a couple here, and I'm gonna come back in and show you something. The couple main things I want you to observe is quality of the leaf tissue. Quality and color is going to give you an indication of the health of the plant. We've had a lot of splash and a lot of wind, so observe these lower leaves. The next thing I want to pay decent attention to is the hypercotyl. Specifically here where we observe this white part of the bean. Is it swollen? Is it discolored? You know, this plant is producing a sugar. Carbon dioxide, water, and chlorophyll, the sun, are creating sugar. If this plant isn't growing the way that it should, you'll start to see a swelling through the hypocotyl. We're not seeing that on these. This field is doing really well. The other observation that we're trying to look at, and I hope we can capture this for you, is the node development on the root. These plants are just doing a really, really nice job of developing nodes early. So let's get out and scout these. We do need to be cognizant of where our stand counts are at. I don't remember if we did this on our last video, so I'm going to cover it real quick. In a 30-inch row, take a tape measure, lay it out 5 feet, count all your plants, divide the number of plants per foot. At 140,000, you should be around 7 or 8, but take the number 43,560 divided by 2.5 for a 30-inch row times the number of plants you have, and that will give you your exact population. Do that 3 or 4 times throughout the field. If you're on a 15-inch row, 43,560 divided by 1.25 times the number of plants, it'll give you your exact population. And again, you know, we just did this field before we came on. We took 4 different counts from 4 different quadrants of the field, right in between 135 and 140,000. Stage them, observe the hypocotyl, check root development. Really, really excited about the development of this field, and we'll be back with you guys in a few minutes on a cornfield. Thank you. Okay, welcome back. We're across the road now in a cornfield. This is corn on corn. Most of this field is DeKalb 6487, and we've actually got a test of a new product out here that we're pretty excited to see. So again, as we're scouting early season right now, we're going to call these plants V4. We'll cover that again in a second. The the questions that we're asking ourselves is, do I have the population that I want? Am I seeing the root development that I want? And am I overall satisfied with the job that my planter did? So I think out here the planter did a really good job. Overall seed spacing is really good. In my opinion, that these plants could have been planted a little bit deeper. We'll talk about root development in a second, but I think it's really important to get out in these fields. So let's cover just a couple things real quick. So I know we've done this, but we'll review. To stage the plant, we're going to count each time we have a leaf collar, where there's a ligule, those little white hairs, and where there's an actual collar, that hardened off white part. So we're going to go 1, we're going to go 2, 3, 4, 5. So this plant's going to be about V5. This plant's right at about V4. Stage the plant, stage consistency of plants. We've observed in this field there's some inconsistency in stages, and as we look around from the ground, we can kind of see where the water follows. There's just clearly slower development of the plants. But two observations of these plants. One is sulfur deficiency. So I'm gonna come in and Dane will kind of guide me again here. But if you see the interveinal yellowing of this leaf tissue, I think if I put my hand behind it, it might kind of help. That yellowing, that's very telling of sulfur deficiency in these plants. Now, that does not mean that we're lacking sulfur in the soil. What it means is this root system probably doesn't have access to that sulfur. So there is the ability to treat over the top. I don't know if we need to do that. I think probably our best bet is to give these plants some time to develop a root system. When we talk about depth of planting, this appears to me to be maybe around 1.4, 1.5 inches. But when Dane and I were attempting to pull these plants, we had a hard time getting this out. It is developing a nice root system, but at this point, it's still a very shallow root system. And so, as we see the variation in these fields, a lot of what we're seeing is variation in the development of that root system. As these root systems branch out, especially as they push and get deeper, I think we're going to start to see these plants color up, and we're going to start to see that sulfur deficiency go away. But again, as we talk about our attempt at identifying the quality of job we did with our planter, am I satisfied with my depth? My depth is going to have a lot to do with where my nodes start to develop and where my crown sets. Am I satisfied with the plant spacing? And am I satisfied with my population? As I look around, I mentioned in the other field what a difference a week makes. The color of these fields, the overall health of these fields is increasing rapidly. But don't make the mistake of not getting out of the truck and coming out and scouting these fields. We can learn a ton. Had a great conversation with the grower on this field before we shot this video about when and how it was planted and kind of what our expectations should be. If we don't come out and do what we're doing right now, it's impossible to have a fair expectation of what to expect of this corn. I'm very optimistic. I like what I'm starting to see develop, but I would just really encourage you to be out in the fields. We've got a team of 5 guys that are going to be scouting all summer long. If you haven't gotten with us, give us a call. Let's get your fields into our system. We'd be happy to scout for you and scout alongside of you. Today is June 6th. This is your weekly ag update from Bloomgren Seed in Boone, Iowa. Thank you.